Sorry, I'm a bit sweaty. I can't actually remember if I've told this story before, but and it's not even that good. But like a bunch of years ago, this is another time when I was in Dallas. I had just moved there and moved into a ground floor apartment. This was like June, so I had lived there for about a month, and then it was my birthday, July 19th, and that day some coworkers and we all went out right after work to have some drinks and, to have dinner. And then after drinks and dinner, I was like, hey, if you guys want to come over, we can just hang out, whatever. So a couple people follow me over to my apartment and I get out of the car, I walk up and there's just all this wood like broken off of the door and laying on the floor. And I remember thinking like, that's weird. Why are they doing like construction? Are they repairing the door? It's so late at night. And I open it up and I go inside and then I start to look around and my TV's gone, my Xbox is gone. And I'm like, oh shit, I've been robbed. And they stole all the electronics in the house, a couple random little furniture pieces. And what I remember was strikingly bizarre was there was a blanket in my closet on the top that they stole. And I remember thinking, like, why would they steal that blanket? To this day, I don't fully understand, except I think maybe it was to cover the TV or to cover up stuff that they had in the trunk of their car as they left. But that always struck me as odd. So anyways, I was like, well, so I called the police and I had all these people. I mean, there's like maybe 3 or 4 people there. And I was like, I have a bottle of vodka. Does anyone want to hang out with me while the police come? And so we did it. It was actually ended up being like a ton of fun. We just drank and listened to music, and everybody, of course, just had their theories as to who had robbed me. Again, I had just moved in. There were a lot of theories that it was the person who had installed my internet, who must have seen that I had a TV and like a computer and, these various things. But the police finally arrived like hours later. I was pretty much drunk at that point. And so I was real obnoxious, not getting in their way, but just real loud and talking about how, are you guys going to find the guy who did this? So I guess I was a bit obnoxious, but yeah, I was also kind of upset. They said that it was because of whatever. And one of the cops said, well, because I lived in a pretty nice area, and the cop said, well, crime doesn't have a zip code. So it's likely whoever stole this isn't in this zip code, so it's probably not likely that we'll find it. The worst part of all this is that I never actually got an insurance reimbursement on almost anything, even though I had renter's insurance, because they needed a receipt or a picture of the box that the item came in, which I had none of those things. And I probably could have, further pushed that at the time, but I don't remember. There was a lot going on in my life at that point, so it was just all a wash, and I pretty much lost all of that stuff. But I did install security from that point on. About 4 or 5 days later, I had a company come in and install like a security system with motion detecting, so that if anyone ever whatever. And like 3 days after that, so this was like maybe 2 weeks after I had been robbed, I'm out at lunch and the security company calls me and they say, hey, there's been a breach in your house and the alarm is going off and we're, letting you know, do you want to send the police there? And I said, yes, because I was coming off the high of like this, that paranoia of like, oh my God, it's happening again. And so I jump in my car, I'm speeding down the road because in my head, I'm like, I'm going to catch them in the act or something. I don't know what I thought I was going to do or what that would have been like. And I pull up and there's no one there. There's no one in the apartment. There's no stuff missing or anything. And so, I called the security company back and I guess they called the police off. I don't remember how that happened because the police never ended up coming to my house. Maybe they just never showed up. But I never figured out what it was until like the next day. I get a call from the landlord of my complex and they're like, or the company, and they're like, hey, we just wanted to let you know that we went in yesterday to look at something and we accidentally set off your security alarm. And I was like, why didn't you tell me that? The day before, you're waiting the next day. You got to wait a whole business day to let me know that you basically did a B&E on my apartment and set off the alarm and almost had the cops called to it. I was so pissed off at them for that. Still am. Never going to get over that. Because they also handled the whole burglary, the original one, so flippantly where they're like, oh, I'm so sorry that happened to you, Didn't offer any sort of responsibility for the fact that, according to the police, they actually didn't have the right code size 9-inch screws on the door. So that's why the door was particularly easy to kick in. They also didn't have any security around the premise of the complex that they were able to provide to the police or anything. And then for them to do that, you know what it was? As I'm sitting in this chair and I'm thinking about it, the complex robbed me.